Now what we are actually going to do is we are going to see what combination is required for a horoscope to have more than one relationship. What are the conditions required in a horoscope so that the person will have more than one relationship? So basically, there are two broad conditions. First is the affliction in the seventh house. That is, seventh is the house of spouse or partner. Seventh is also the house of physical connection. And if the seventh house is heavily afflicted by Krura Grahas, or seventh lord goes to 6, 8, or 12, where it is not in its own house, and then there are additional problems connected to that, or presence of Rahu or Ketu in 1/7 axis, and more afflictions thereupon, then the person goes for more than one relationship. The second is the heavy affliction in the fifth house. What is the heavy affliction in the fifth house? The fifth lord going to 6, 8, or 12, where it is not in one house, presence of Rahu or Ketu, lots of the fifth in Shadbala it is going very weak, or it is connected with heavy malefics like Mars or Saturn. Just one or two afflictions, it's quite common because no marriage is 100% perfect marriage. So there are always some problems associated with marriage, like misunderstanding, health problems, financial problems, problems connected with career. But all those are not going to the extent of break in the relationship. When there are heavy afflictions connected, only then there is a problem that's happening so that there is a break in the relationship. Just one planet is aspecting, or one planet is in its in a bad house. Those points has to be substantiated with more malefic associations. Only then it leads to a break in the relationship. Having one planet in, for example, the fifth lord goes to the sixth, where it is not in one house. It's a putra dosha only. But if you go and interview people with having this combination, their marriage life will be good, and they will also have children, because fifth house is the house connected with children. That's why we are considering the fifth house also. And fifth is the house of romance. And every relationship has to have a romantic part in it. So when you inquire these persons who's having fifth lord in 6, 8, or 12, they will say their life is okay only, their marriage life or their somewhat going good. But when there is additional one more affliction, one more additional, more and more affliction, then it goes to the extent of breaking the relationship. And one more important thing, what we are going to do is we're not going to consider when the birth detail is approximate, like 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, because we need to talk to the person, and based on some events only we can confirm whether the birth time is right or not. Because 9 p.m. can also be right, but we cannot be, we cannot make a stance of something of which we are unsure, we are not sure about. And also, if the Lagna degree falls on border, like 1 degree or 29th degree, when we cast the horoscope, that also we are not going to consider. We will move to the next horoscope. So now we will start with this chart. But this chart, as I said, the timing itself is 9 p.m. So we are not going to go with this. Here also we are getting 6:30. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Okay, 27 September 1984. So my student Sugandeshan, Ramya, and Suleshika has also joined with me. So Sugandeshan, if there is any mistake that I am making, please let me know with the birth details if I am entering it wrong, or if there is any, even if I am considering the unsure date of birth, or if the Lagna degree falls in 1 or 29th degree, please remind me that also. Okay. So this chart will start 27 September 1984, 11:32 a.m. Place of birth is Chennai, that is Madras. Okay. First, what we are going to see, Mars is in the first house, and Jupiter is also in the first house. Where is the seventh lord? Please have a look at the Bhava chart as well as the Rasi chart. In Rashi chart, Rahu is in the 7th house, but in Bhava chart, it moves to the 6th house. Okay? So there is no Rahu Ketu affliction in the chart. We should always do justice to the rule that is there in astrology. Just because we see immediately in Rashi chart Rahu is in the 7th house, we should not say there is a problem connected with Rahu and Ketu. Because the main purpose of doing this is we are going to suggest remedies for these people, and with vague data we cannot come to a conclusion. So we should know what exactly the problem is. So Rahu has moved to the 6th house and Ketu has moved to the 12th house. So there is no Rahu Ketu affliction connected with marriage problem. Okay. Okay. So is the person Manglik? Mangal dosha is where the one straight away point of break-in marriage is given, because the Maharishi goes to the extent of saying that the spouse will die. Even for 7th Lord in 6, 8 or 12, where it is not in one house, there is only enmity or loss of spouse there. But here the Maharishi straight away points out at death. That's why Mangal dosha is one single important rule where the remedy for that person is to marry a person who is equally Mangal. Another remedy for Mangal dosha is the Mangal dosha gets cancelled if Jupiter is aspecting Mars, or if Venus is aspecting Mars, or Jupiter or Venus, any of the planet is close with Mars. Close with Mars in the sense it should be less than 15 degrees. 15 degrees is the influential range of any planet. Okay? 7.5 degrees is much better, but 15 degrees okay. 15 degree means, so Jupiter and Mars, the difference is 10 degrees only, so this person is not Mangli. And now where is the 7th Lord? 7th Lord is Venus. This house is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in the 11th house. Again, in Rashi chart, since it is in 12th house, we should not say Venus is in the 12th house. Venus is in the 11th house, but it is in the 1 house. But this particular Venus is afflicted by Saturn. See the degree of difference between Venus and Saturn. It is 12 degrees. So though the 7th Lord moves to 11th, it is still afflicted. In Bhava chart, they are separate. But if you see the affliction, there is a problem. Saturn is influencing Venus. And 5th Lord is Jupiter, which is the Uttarakaraka, and that is also afflicted by Mars. Though Jupiter is blessing Mars, on the other side, Mars is afflicting Jupiter. So now we have got two severe conditions. One is Saturn influencing Venus and Mars influencing Jupiter, which is the 5th one. And also Mars is aspecting more on the 7th house for this person. So just Mars aspecting the 7th house is not a problem, because as I said earlier, that's only one rule. The two, an aspect is something like most commonly it will have. Even for a very good marriage also, there will be a small influence of Mars only. That cannot be taken as serious thing. If you ask your relatives or friends, they will say, yes, Saturn is aspecting my 7th house, or Mars is aspecting. There will be even Saturn in the 7th house also, but the marriage life will be good. There will be some tensions or small problems, but the married life will be good. Now here we have got conditions like the 7th Lord going to 11th, where Saturn is influencing that particular 7th Lord, that is Venus. This is still in 12 degrees. So there is an affliction. And also the 5th Lord of children is also getting afflicted. Why we are giving importance to 5th houses? It is not only the house of romance, it is also the house of children. And fruits of marriage is obtaining a child. So since that is also afflicted, here we are getting one more condition of affliction. And now Mars aspecting the 7th house becomes somewhat significant. Okay. Like this, you should approach. Is there any compensatory aspect of other planet aspecting the 7th house? No significant aspect. Saturn is 66%. We need 75 minimum to trust the aspect. So there are no such planets aspecting. So now we are coming to the conclusion that this particular person is experiencing a severe problem in relationship. So what are the main problems? 7th Lord goes here. You should remember that Venus is not debilitated. Venus is in its Venus is in the sign of Libra only. Only in Bhava because of the Lagna degree going to 28. 28 minus 15 is 13 degrees. So any planet that is less than 13 degrees will move to the next Bhava. That's why Moon and Venus has moved to this Bhava in Bhava. So Saturn is afflicting Venus because of this 12 degree range. And then there is Putra dosha because of just fifth lord in the second house is not Putra dosha, but fifth lord in the second house afflicted by Mars is Putra dosha, and then Mars aspecting the seventh house becomes an additional problem. The main problems are this one only. The seventh lord afflicted by Venus and the fifth lord afflicted by Mars. And we can have the divisional charts for further confirmation. Yeah. For example, if you see the D7 chart, which is the house of children, the fifth lord again is afflicted by Saturn. And the Lagna lord for any divisional chart has also to be considered. That is afflicted by Mars. The Lagna lord is that is afflicted by Rahu. Sorry, the Lagna lord is Mars, and that is afflicted by Rahu. So these many points you should be able to say. Just and one more important thing. We should go to divisional charts only if there is more afflictions like we stated here, and then only you should go to the divisional charts. Just because of one or two afflictions, please don't go to the divisional charts and say, I have Rahu Ketu, I have these many things. After getting substantiable evidence from the Rashi chart only, we should go to the divisional chart. Else, any divisional chart will show some affliction only. There will be Rahu Ketu, there will be Saturn, influence. But only after obtaining the evidence only, we have to go to the divisional chart. Like after getting so much of evidence only, we are going to the another law process for confirmation purpose. That's all. Now I think we can go to the next chart. Ganesh Rama. Again, the time of birth is only 1:30 p.m. Next chart. Ajit. Okay. 7 September 1981. 7 September 1981. 6:50 p.m. Bangalore. It's been long time since I have been out of Bangalore. Oh my God. The Lagna degree is falling at 29 degrees. Even though we have evidence of to say that this marriage is not good, we are not going to do this thing. Because we cannot come see Rahu, Mars in the fifth house is a Putra Dosha combination only. Okay. And Saturn will aspect such a combination or any planet aspecting. Since we have already decided that anything that is like on the border of the Lagna, we are not going to do this. Because we have already said that, yeah. And for the previous person, the actual remedy is that he should do remedies related to Putra Dosha. So he should spend time in orphanage or donate to orphanage or orphan children. Don't make children involving with fights. So next is A.L. Narasimhan. We'll also see like details like when they have been together, what kind of experience they had. Okay. 17 December 1975. 1:20 a.m. Salem. Salem, Tamil Nadu. Jupiter is in the seventh house. Saturn aspecting Jupiter. No. What is the strength of Jupiter? Jupiter is okay strong. What is the fifth lord? Fifth lord is in the 11th house. Fifth lord is in the 11th house. Saturn aspecting the fifth house, 91%. Saturn aspecting fifth house, 91%. Seventh lord in the seventh is actually a good marriage. What happened to this person? Fifth lord going to the 11th is also a good bhagya from children. Yes, Sugandeshan? Saturn is aspecting the fifth house, 91. Yes, Saturn is aspecting fifth house, but that cannot be said as a putra dosha, I said earlier. Even for one of my cousins, Saturn is aspecting fifth house. He has one twins and one children, and all are doing good. That cannot be said. See, where else the planets will go? Where else the planets will go? If one planet is there, if it is aspecting, because Saturn has got three aspects, it will aspect the third house, it will aspect the seventh house, it will aspect the 10th house, and Saturn itself will be at one place. There are 12 signs or 12 bhavas, and there are 9 planets. There will be some aspect of this one the other. If you are speaking about aspect, there should be so many aspects. Like Saturn being at one place, it should aspect the seventh house, the seventh lord aspect the fifth house, and the fifth lord. Like that, if there are so many things connected with aspects, and there are no compensatory aspects from benefic planets, we can speak. But here, seventh lord, Jupiter in the seventh house is a good combination for marriage, and that will it is in its own house. Is it moving in what is the time of birth? 120, okay. Have we given the birth details correct? Saturn is also in the 8th house. No Putra dosha. And Mars. Okay. Let me check the birth details. My lyrics. 17 December 1975. Okay. 1:20 a.m. Fine. 1:20 a.m. means, yeah, it is at midnight. Sun is in the third house. Salem, okay. You see, like what they have stated. Together for 5 years. Date of marriage is 2012. Mother only. So there is no father. There should be 9th house affliction. Again, Rahu alone, Mars alone, the 9th house cannot be a straightaway problem for the 9th house. Chartered account. Chartered accountant means then even a combination for a chartered accountant. Yeah? Oh, see, look at this place. Look at this one. The Lagna is what? The Lagna is actually Tula Lagna. Okay, but what we have got here is the Kanya Lagna. Yeah, only for Tula Lagna, there is a marriage problem. Because we are getting Rahu Ketu in the axis, and the seventh lord goes to 8th house where it is not in one house. And then if Lagna goes to the Lagna lord is in the 9th house, then Mercury will be along with Sun. Yeah, Mercury will be very close with Sun. It will be in the influential degree of Sun. I think they have entered the time of birth wrong. This person is Tula Lagna, as he has mentioned. But in the horoscope, it says Kanya Lagna. So, shall we shift the time of birth to Tula Lagna? Can we make it? I think instead of 1:20, it would have been 3:20. 3:20 means like they have wrongly entered the time of birth. Now, if it is 3:20, what is the combination? Yeah, now we are getting so many combinations. That's what I was actually wondering. Because there was no problem with marriage. Yeah, that's what I was not able to find, not even one combination for marriage. Only now there is a problem. Rahu Ketu in the 1/7 axis. Rahu Ketu in the 1/7 axis, the Maharishi says things very strictly about marriage. Because Rahu Ketu, they always mention something that is completely different to us, and they get a partner completely different, of different kind, of different nature. Rahu Ketu, they always indicate the uh, dissecting part of ourselves. Whenever Rahu Ketu is present, there will be serious problem connected with marriage when they are in the 1/7 axis. But with Ketu in the 7th house is big problem connected with marriage. So now we are getting a combination. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, oh, is 7th lord in the 7th house is a good marriage. That is Jupiter in the 7th house. Definitely it's going to be a good marriage. Now we are getting Rahu Ketu in the 1/7 axis. In the Bhava chart also, the same thing happens. Now, even now, people will have combinations with 1/7 axis Rahu Ketu, but their marriage will be in a slight of a trouble, like they're depending upon their situation. Now, the additional condition is the lord of this house going to this house. 7th lord going to 8th house, where it is not in one house. Now it becomes a problem. Yeah, I was actually wondering. And then there is another condition here. What is it? Can anyone say? Yes. This particular person is Mangalic in nature, Mars in 8th house. So this person should have married a person who is Mangalic if there is that, because Mangalic dosha, if you are not going to marry a Mangalic, that alone is enough, because the Maharishi goes to the extent of saying that the spouse will die. One combination is alone enough if he has not married Mangli. But in addition, there are other combinations. Rahu Ketu, and then the seventh lord going to the eighth house, and then Mars in the eighth house, because that is the seventh lord happening here. So these many situations you are getting it. And then, as you said, like Saturn aspecting will just give you, even Saturn is not aspecting the fifth house now. King Saturn, see, Saturn is aspecting only 68. Saturn is aspecting the fourth house more. Fourth is not connected with marriage. Yeah, now we have Revati joined. Welcome, Revati. Mars is aspecting Mercury. Yeah, Mars is aspecting Mercury, but that is not connected with the topic that we are concerned now, because third house is not connected with marriage. Is Mars aspecting the fifth house? No. Rahu is aspecting fifth house. Yeah, see, Rahu, Ketu, they generally they don't have aspects. Always give importance to aspect of Saturn, Mars, because they are going to cause severe problem wherever they are connected. So now for this person, the remedy is straight away connected to marriage. Even Rahu Ketu in one's own axis, the Maharishi says the native will give birth to a stillborn child. So there is a slight amount of Putra dosha also connected when Rahu Ketu is in the one's own axis. We saw in the previous video like how Rahu and Ketu, they are one and the same, split into two different parts. So the Maharishi deals both Rahu and Ketu as same kind of connection. So this person has to do marriage-related remedies like spell for people, those who have a problem like not getting married. So if you face those people, give them some money, like for especially for female. If they are not finding money for their marriage, you can give them money. Or if you are finding any of your friends who is also male, if they are not able to get married, you can like spend money for that cause. Always speak about something good about marriage. Don't say marriage is always bad or I have not a good marriage. But the problem is, as you start speaking, the people on the opposite side will say you itself are having a bad married life. Your marriage itself has become a problem. Please don't take that into serious considerations. Always avoid such kind of people, those who speak toxic manner. You do your duty like what it is there for you. So speak good things connected with marriage. Try to counsel people. Try to share your own experiences, like what you have, and definitely like because when Rahu and Ketu is connected in the 1/7 axis, the problem would have been so serious. Don't talk too much against saying that in foreign everything is common. Only in India we are stuck up with all these things. Because in foreign the situation is entirely different. Their divorce is also 50-50 percentage. They don't consult astrologers or horoscope matching. They don't give any kind of importance to that. So there the divorce rate is not even 50-50. The divorce is 70 percentage and only the married life is 30. They won't see anything. They just give importance to those small attractions, and then they say that let's get married, uh, and then when the problem comes in the particular dasha bhukti, they face so many problems. So like what is the combination for those small attractions? We call such kind of attractions as infatuations, correct? See, whenever an infatuation comes, it will generally remain for a smaller amount of time, or that particular infatuation which that will not go to a meaning of seeing it as a relationship, that will happen or that will begin in a particular bhukti. For example, let's say it will start in it might start in Mercury bhukti and it will end in the bhukti itself. Say for example 2-3 years, it will end within the bhukti, and or at least at the starting of the next bhukti in the 1 or 2 months it will end. It is going to be a kind of an attraction. So it will start in one particular bhukti, and at the end of the bhukti, maximum, the longest bhukti is 3 years. Venus is the longest bhukti, that is 3 years. So within that bhukti, it will end, or at the starting of the next bhukti, it will end, and it will not have any kind of impact. So that cannot be called as a relationship. If that extends more than that, and if the person has more than one relationship, definitely that more than one relationship combination will start to be appearing in the horoscope. This person, 8 March 1987. 8 March 1987. Sugan, please, if there are any mistakes that I make, kindly tell that, because I'm not so good at, like for the past 1.5 years only I'm using this software. Not even 1.5 years. It's going to only 1 year, I think. But I'm good. Like if simultaneously, if I'm going to refer to a website and then parallelly doing this, I make sometimes I make a mistake. So please open this website also at, in your system, and please go to this particular tab, and you can also like use the reference number, like what, something like this, and then search. Here we have Saturn in the 7th house. Saturn in the 7th house alone is not a big problem, because there are people who have Saturn in the 7th house, their married life is good. But with one combination, as I said, we cannot come to a conclusion. What is the planet in that house? Where is the Lord? And then the aspect. Aspect is always considered secondary when it comes to Bhava placement. Just an aspect cannot, unless the Maharishi says, it cannot turn something upside down or cannot cancel everything. Only the placement of Bhava is going to be the key combination. So here we have Saturn in the 7th house. The Maharishi says Saturn in the 7th house is the person will have a thin wife, and there will be some problems connected with marriage. What is Saturn in the 7th house? The native will have a thin wife, he'll be afflicted in his body, and will indulge in, oh my god, prostitution. He'll do very sorrowful. If Sun is in one sign, the sign of exaltation, the native will have intimacy with many women. Here, Saturn is not in such kind of sign. The effect will be same if Saturn is in conjunction with Ketu. Here, Saturn is not with Ketu. If Saturn is associated with, oh my god, if Saturn is in Shukra, the native will have, no. In general, we can say it will not go to this bad extent, but Saturn in the 7th house, in any way, it is an affliction with planets like Venus also, it is bad. If it is alone also, there is some problem. Or if even if it is exalted, there is a problem. If it is with Ketu, that is even more bad. So Saturn in the 7th alone, there is something connected with a severe problem. Even if it is in the sign of exaltation, that is in, even if it is in Ucham, it is bad. Now Saturn is in the sign of Mars. The 7th lord goes to the 12th house, correct? Mars. But this is the own house of Mars. So 7th lord going to 12th is not a big problem here. But Saturn in the 7th house has become a problem of concern, because we have seen so much things. And on top of that, Mars is aspecting such Saturn. Now we have to give importance to this Mars. Already we have seen so many problems when Saturn in the 7th house. And on top of that, we are getting Mars aspecting the Saturn in the 7th house. Now we are coming to the 5th house. The second conditions, the second set of broad conditions. Ketu in the 5th house is Putra Dosha. But we are not going to start with that alone. We are going to inquire where is the 5th lord. 5th lord is in the 9th house. 5th lord in the 9th house is okay. But again, Saturn is aspecting that 5th lord, that is Mercury. See how things happen. First, we have seen Saturn in the 7th house, already problem, but we are not going to stop with that. As I said earlier, there are people who will have Saturn in the 7th house, but their marriage life will be okay. That will be going good. What leads to the breakage of marriage? That we have to see. Mars is aspecting the 7th house by its 8th house aspect. It is aspecting 83%. And then Mars is aspecting the 7th house also, 95%. And Ketu is in the 5th house, the Putra dosha only. But even then, we are not going to stop. The Putra Lord goes to the 9th house, which is somewhat good. But again, there is an affliction of Saturn. So see how many like repetitions we are getting. There is a problem connected with marriage because of the Saturn, and there is a problem connected with child also in one single chart. We cannot like say, we cannot be so much of like 1 or 0 kind of a thing. If for one there is a problem, the other will not be there. Here we have two problems also, and both are connected with the seventh house as well as the fifth house, which is affecting the marriage. And then in the divisional chart of D7, which is for children, again there is Ketu in the fifth house. Fifth is the house of children. So again and again, in one after the other, we are continuously seeing chances where there is a problem with marriage as well as children. Seventh house afflicted, and then fifth house afflicted. And then we are not stopping with just one combination. So these things are actually leading to the problem of marriage. Sir, what will happen if, because Jupiter is aspecting Ketu? Yes, Jupiter is aspecting Ketu. But what is in the fifth house? There is not Jupiter in the fifth house. If Jupiter is in the fifth house, that is good for children. Here, Ketu is in the fifth house. Read what is Rahu Ketu in the fifth house. There is a problem. There is Putra dosha. And the fifth lord going to ninth is not a problem. But again, there is Saturn aspecting. Saturn is not like leaving it. It is again and again, it is connected with the seventh house as well as the fifth house. So here, Saturn is again aspecting. Mars is aspecting Saturn in the seventh house. Saturn is aspecting Mercury. These two things are not the biggest problems. The first biggest problem is Saturn straight away being the seventh house. Already it is putting pressure on the seventh house, and then Mars is further causing problems over the seventh house. And in addition to that, we have fifth house, Ketu in the fifth house. And that Lord is going to the ninth house, which is good, but again there is a problem, which is Saturn's aspect. These many things we have to say before concluding that there is a break in relationship. Sri Ram Sheshukri, 22 December 1996. Again, we have got Rahu Ketu in the 1-7 axis. In Bhava chart also, Rahu Ketu is in the 1-7 axis. Where is the seventh lord? Seventh lord is Jupiter. It is in the sixth house. In Bhava is also it is in the sixth house. Same position. There it meets Mars. Only 2 degrees of gap. Natural malefic Mars. Already Rahu Ketu in the 1-7 axis, and then the seventh lord going to sixth. The spouse will be inimical to the native, as per BPHS. Seventh lord going to sixth. The house is not in one house. It is ruled by Saturn, and then it is afflicted by Mars. Close with Mars. 2 degree gap with Mars. So there is severe marriage related problem. Is there any Putra dosha? Rahu Ketu in 1-7 is also a form of Putra dosha only. Saturn is aspecting the fifth house 93%, yes. Where is the fifth lord? Fifth lord is Saturn only. Is Saturn aspecting Jupiter? No. It is only 73. 75 we need. Rahu Ketu in the 1-7 axis, and then the seventh lord going to sixth, where it is not in one house. There it meets, there it connects with Mars. These many points we have to say. Just we need to know the intensity also before making a statement. Every planet is a Devata planet only, starting from Sun till Saturn. But Rahu and Ketu alone, they are from the Asura side. So when Rahu Ketu involves the 1-7 axis or the 5-11 axis, the impact is so heavy. But still, we cannot say Rahu Ketu is in the 1-7 axis, so there is a problem. We should look for one more problem again. Though the Maharishi says the person will have more than one. Even if again there is another problem, like the lord of that house is also afflicted, then we should try to make a conflict. We should try to make a conclusion. We should always suggest marriage-related remedies. What are marriage-related remedies? Spend for others' marriage. When you are not getting a good marriage, spend, like, give money for when a female or a male is getting married. If they are having lack of funds, help them, or genuinely help in searching for a bride for your friends, so that they are going to get involved in a better marriage. And of course, as I said, speak something good about marriage. Why this person has got a problem with the marriage? Because he, in his previous birth, he would have made problems connected to his spouse. He would have ignored his spouse so much, or he would have fought with his spouse. And I think this person would have fought with his or her spouse, and he would have, like, asked her to get out of the house. Because the seventh lord moves to the sixth house. And there it meets with Mars. Mars is the planet of fight and war. And sixth is already the house of fight only. So seventh lord moves to the sixth house. Yeah, fights, enemies, all these things are connected to the sixth house. In this birth, this person would have severely, fought with the spouse. There would have been some serious problem. Okay. Now there will have been more fights. June 2017, they got married. 2017 June, Moon Mars. Where is Moon? Moon is in the 12th house. Sorry, 11th house in Bhava. Where is Mars? Mars is in the 6th house. Why do you want to get married in Moon Mars? Mars is already the planet of fighting. And Moon Mars, they are in Sastashtaka. From Moon, Mars is in the 8th house. That is not a good time for marriage. The Dasha Bhukti is also Sastashtaka. So much of a kind of a fight is involved. People with having Rahu Ketu, they would say like, my God, I never thought I would get such kind of a spouse. You talk to them closely, they will speak. So, do marriage related remedies, as I said earlier. We'll go to the next chapter. Yam Ramakrishna. Oh my God, the time of birth is 7 a.m. We'll go to the next chapter. Nikhil Krishna. 28 January 1985, 7:29 Madurai. Is it AM or PM? Only if you know that we can proceed further. You should be very careful in knowledge, giving the birth details, or if the person who is entering also should be careful at giving those details. Yes, Magesh, 9 June 1981. 9 June 1981. 3:52 AM Chennai. Chennai is Madras in the south, right? Okay. Lucknow is 26. 26 is fine. Okay, where is the seventh lord? Seventh lord is Venus. Seventh lord is in the second house in the Bhava chart. Seventh lord is in the second house, but it is not in one house. Here also the Maharishi says the person will have more than one spouse, there is a chance. But we are not going to stop with that. We will see if there is any problem connected with that. What planet is in fifth house? Saturn, Jupiter, and Moon in the fifth house. Saturn in the fifth house is a problem connected with children. Jupiter is in the fifth house, so blessing for children. Moon in the fifth house is somewhat neutral only, like it's not so good or so bad. Moon is also somewhat bright only. The person was born in the Tithi of Saptami. Okay. Moon is okay only. The moon would have been bright. So this fifth house is almost, you can say it is balanced or neutralized. But Saturn alone in the fifth house, the Maharishi hints that the native will have an affection over the another spouse. Yeah, with concern with children, there is not a problem because Jupiter is going to mellow down the effects of Saturn. See, that's what we have to do. Suddenly, if we see Saturn, we should not say the person will have Putra dosha, and we will say we should not always try to catch a point for to say there is a problem. We should always see the good things also. We should always go in that area where there are good and bad happening, and then we are trying to pick up which is more bad. Like if the problem is really existing on more on the bad side, we should say, or else we should check whether the date of birth is correct or our reading is correct. We should see what the Maharishi has said. Sometimes the Maharishi says something very peculiar. Mars in the first house, Mangal dosha. Yes, Mars in the first house is Mangal dosha. If is Jupiter aspecting Mars? Yeah, Jupiter is aspecting Mars 95. So the Mangal dosha is cancelled. There is no Mangal dosha. Now, the seventh lord going to the second is a problem connected to the Maharishi says there will be more than two spouses. Now, Venus being the seventh lord going to the second house, where more than one spouse is indicated. Now, Saturn is aspecting that combination 95. Now, we have to give importance to things like the two aspect of Saturn. Is there any substantiating aspect from better planets to mellow down the effects of Venus? Jupiter is only 21, Moon is only 5, not consider that as an aspect. Now we have a problem, okay, where the Maharishi already hints because the Venus is not in one house, Venus is in the house of Mercury, and then Saturn is aspecting Venus, and then Saturn on the fifth house is concerned where the person will have a tendency over like going towards more than one spouse. So this person has to do something connected with Marriage, as I said, spend for marriage, speak good things for marriage, and if there are younger couple who have just got married than you, bless them. All these things should be done. Be positive on marriage. That's how the remedy is. Okay, we'll go to the next chart. After now, later, why they are not giving their name? Hmm? Okay, they have some personal issues. 2/12/1984, 3:21 a.m. Chennai. Saturn in Lagna in Bhava, Saturn goes to the second. See, just when you look at the chart, I think this will come only with some experience only. We should compare the Rashi and the Bhava. Simultaneously, we should see which planet has moved, which planet has not moved, which planet is in which house. All these things we should start comparing when we talk about the Bhava chart, the importance of Bhava chart. Just because a planet moves to the bad Bhava, it will take so many uh, points depending upon it is good or it is bad. Like depending upon it has moved to the good house or a bad house. Because like I have seen there was a incident where in I think a pregnant lady she was in flight. No, no, she just got down from the flight and she was in the waiting area. She was in the airport lounge. There was severe labor pain she got. She was taken to the hospital. There, the child was born, but the mother died. There are so many instances that this happens, but I personally I was there in that airport. So when I heard the news that the doctor, as soon as he came, he said the child is born, but the mother is. I asked the doctor what was the time of birth. He gave the time, and the planets. The fourth lord is in the ninth house. Sorry, the fourth lord is in the first house, which is good for mother. But in Bhava, the fourth lord moves to the 12th house, which is loss. So this indicates the importance of Bhava chart. There are so many instances I can narrate. Okay. So always give importance to Bhava chart when the time of birth is accurate. Follow the instructions what the Maharishis have given. Okay, here in this chart, what is the seventh lord? Mars is the seventh lord. Correct? Mars is the seventh lord. And where is Mars? Mars is in the fourth house. And Mars is exalted. It is in Uchasthana. In Chhatbala also, Mars is in 159. Good only. Seventh Lord in the fourth house is good. Is this person Mangal Dosha? Or for this person not to be in Mangal Dosha, in Bhava, Jupiter and Venus are close. But look at the degrees. Mars is in 18th degree. From here, Mars has traveled 18 degrees and then it is here. Jupiter is in 21. Venus is in 27. The planets that can cancel those are Jupiter and Venus, and they are more than 15 degrees away from Mars. From Lagna point of view only, both these planets are entering into the fourth house. But from each other, the difference is more than 15 degrees. So the Mangal Dosa is still there. See, just look at the astrologers who are not considering the degrees. There are astrologers who don't even consider the Bhava chart. And there are 95% of the astrologers, they don't use the aspect table. They just count using fingerprint. A Saturn aspect third from the house where it is placed. So they will take the Rashi chart. They will say Saturn is aspecting these three planets because Saturn has got third house aspect. In reality, Saturn has moved to the second house. From the second house, Saturn will aspect these houses. See the aspect table. Saturn is aspecting Mars 81%. Saturn is aspecting Venus 98%. Okay. Saturn is aspecting Jupiter 76%. Saturn aspecting Mercury because Mercury is also in the third house only. But Mercury is in the 6th degree. Mercury is at the starting point of this Rasi. So Saturn will not aspect Mercury. It is only 28. We need more than 75. This is where most of the error creeps in. We should have clear-cut degrees. See, the sky is very large, correct? And in that, we cannot take risk of being non-accurate. To the maximum, we should try to be accurate with the details that we have. At least with the details that we have. Saturn is aspecting the 7th Lord Mars. Now there is a small problem. Is there any combination from benefic more than 81% so that it can be like compensated? No. What is there any Putra dosha? Who is the Putra Karaka here? Who is the Putra like for this Lagna? The fifth house is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is in the second house. Yeah. In the Bhava, Saturn has moved to the second house. And then see the importance of degrees now. Saturn is here at 27th degree and Ketu is at the starting third degree. The difference between Saturn and Ketu is 3 degrees here and 3 degrees in this way. So there is only 6-degree difference between Saturn and Ketu, which is a highly influenceable range. Correct? So there is Putra dosha connected with this combination that we have to give a lot of importance. Fifth lord is very close with or in a close conjunction with Ketu. Fifth lord is already a malefic planet. Fifth lord going to second house, the Maharishi doesn't say, the Maharishi is not saying connected to Putra dosha, but when it meets a malefic like Ketu, there comes Putra dosha. Because Rahu and Ketu are planets that they are the planets of separation. So now the Putra dosha creeps in. And we can say Saturn is aspecting Mars, which is the 7th lord, and there are no good planets to overcome that combination. And then there is Mangal dosha. So this person initially should have married a Mangalik. Even if he marries a Mangalik, these combinations are possible. What are the combinations? 7th lord is getting aspected by Mars and there are no benefits to compensate it. And there is a Putra dosha, a heavier form of Putra dosha connected with it. Saturn connected with Ketu. Saturn has no relationship with Sun. It is far from Sun. The difference between Saturn and Sun is 16 plus 3, 19 degrees. We can say 20 degrees because it is already in 53 and this is 16. So we can say Saturn is 20 degrees away from Sun. So there is very, very less influence of Saturn and Sun. Saturn on Sun. But a heavy influence of Saturn Ketu, which gave rise to the Putra dosha. There is Rahu Ketu axis in 1-7, and then the fifth lord, Jupiter, goes to the 6th house, where it meets Saturn. So the Putra dosha is heavier. So please do Putra dosha related remedies. Go to orphanage, spend on orphan children. If you have time, if you have time and money, you can even take the expense of orphan children, like spending for the education, buying the dresses what the child likes. Yeah, you can do those remedies. And since it is connected with Rahu Ketu, worship the snake idol. We are going to prove the combinations of all the people in this remarriage category. Yes, Pranav. 8 April 1982. How many charts we have done so far? I think we ignored some charts due to the inaccuracies in time of death. Okay. We will do Pranav and we will stop this session. The next part we will do the other horoscope. 8 April 1992. 6:51 a.m. Hyderabad. The Lagna is also okay. Now, where is the 7th lord? Who is the owner of this house? Venus. Where is Venus? Venus goes to the 12th house. In Bhava also Venus is in the 12th house, where it is not in the own house. Saturn aspecting Venus? No. Jupiter is aspecting Venus. But the aspect cannot change everything. It can only substantiate the points. If it is a better aspect, it will give some kind of a solution. If it is a bad aspect, it will give you a negative impact. But before that, the bhavas gain more importance. But yeah, the bhavas in which they present has higher degree of importance than the aspect. Jupiter in the 5th house is Putra Bhagya. Difference between Sun and Venus, it is 17 degrees. So wide away from the influential range. 5th lord in the 1st house. 5th lord is in the 1st house. Yeah, in Bhava, Sun has come to the 7th house. Yeah, that is also not bad. Wait. We take Jupiter. Jupiter is in the fifth house. Okay. Now, see the aspect table. Saturn is aspecting Jupiter. Saturn is aspecting the fifth lord Sun. Saturn is aspecting the fifth house, 86%. Mars is aspecting the fifth house Jupiter. Yes, Mars is aspecting the fifth house itself, 75%. If you are going to deal with aspects, you need to take these many points. And there are no substantial aspects from Venus to compensate this aspect on Jupiter. Jupiter itself has to aspect to compensate, but here Jupiter itself is getting afflicted. So, if you are going to say something, a break in combination because of aspect, you should say so many things. What are the things we said? Saturn is aspecting the Jupiter in the fifth house. Saturn is aspecting the fifth lord Sun. Saturn is aspecting the fifth house itself. Mars is aspecting the Jupiter in the fifth house. Mars is aspecting the fifth house itself. All these things you should say. And then the fifth lord, and then the seventh lord is in the 12th house, which is the house of laws. It is not in the own house. So these many points we have to say to prove some certain things, it's like saying small points getting bigger. One small point like planet is aspecting a particular house. That that as I said earlier, that any people will have. But like there will be some problems connected to finance, career, or for some period of time they might be separate. The husband might be working in abroad, or due to some fight related issues, they will not be talking for some time. All these things are there already in the life. Like that only people are living. But what goes to the extent of breaking is these things. So many aspects. And then there is a placement of Venus. Just Venus in this 12th house alone, we cannot say. Though this is a bad combination, Venus, 7th Lord Venus in the 12th house, we cannot say. Okay? Like I saying, Venus in the 12th house afflicts the blood pressure also. No. Venus in the 12th house gives more blood pressure. Because Venus is the planet of, love, romance, and also the physical connections. And 12th is the house of blood. So Venus in the 12th house gives blood pressure. And then we forgot the divisional chart. In divisional chart, since we have from here we have seen Putra dosha more because of the aspects, so many aspects. We are going to see the same thing in here also. But here we have the seventh lord also going to a bad house. So here the fifth lord goes to the sixth house. See, fifth lord is Mercury and it goes to the sixth house. Okay, next chart. With Pranav, I said you can stop. Okay, we'll see one more chart also. Santanam Chakravarti. Oh, he has not given the time itself. Later. 13 May 1979. 2:32 p.m. What is this place? Pimpri Chinchavati. Chinchwat. Where is this place? So, Nathan, please, let me know where is this place. I myself will see. Pimpri Chinchwat. Where is Pimpri Chinchwat? Indian state of Maharashtra. Okay. Can you find Pimpri Chinchwad here? I think it's near Pune. Pimpri Colony. Okay, I will say Pune. Because the only place that is near to that is Pune. Okay, we will come to this chart also. Who is the seventh lord? Seventh lord is Jupiter. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter is in the 11th house. Seventh lord in 11th house is a good combination for marriage. And here Jupiter is exalted. In Shadbala also Jupiter is in 132. Okay. Mars is aspecting Jupiter. Yes. Mars is aspecting Jupiter. Is there any aspect from benefic planets? Okay, there is. Venus 56 is an aspect, but we need more than 75 to have a substantiate, better aspect. So Mars is influencing Jupiter. We'll see one more combination. What are the other combination? Saturn aspecting. No, Saturn cannot aspect the seventh house. Saturn is aspecting. Oh, Saturn is aspecting 75 on the seventh house. Oh, how come? Oh, it is in the seventh house range. Seventh house range aspect. Okay. Now, shall we conclude with this? No, we cannot conclude. This combination also definitely people will have. Just to don't see in the previous one we have seen how many things with aspect, how many things we are saying? We should say fifth house, fifth lord, seventh house, seventh lord, and then there should be a baba going in a bad house. With these things only we should come to a conclusion. For example, what will you if you say if the Venus is aspecting Jupiter? Here Venus is not aspecting, but let's say Venus is going to aspect Jupiter from here or from here. What will you do? Venus cannot be here. For when Sun is here, Venus cannot go here. But say for example, let's say Venus is going to aspect. Mars and Venus aspecting Jupiter will give a like 50-50 where it will tend to neutralize, correct? If Venus is aspecting more like 98 and Mars is only 85, then you have to give importance to Venus aspect. Then if Venus is aspecting, it becomes a blessing. So what is the important point here? Where is the fifth lord? Who is the fifth lord first? Saturn is the fifth lord. Saturn owns the fifth and the sixth house. Where Saturn goes? Saturn goes to 12th house of loss. And there it meets Rahu, 6 degrees of gap between Saturn and Rahu. In Bhavachar also, they are in the same position. So primarily there is heavy Putra dosha connected. Saturn, already a malefic planet, going to 12th house where it is not in own house is a problem. And then it meets Rahu and Ketu axis. Two big malefics, Rahu and Ketu are. These two, Rahu and Ketu, are planet that dissect. They are the planets of separation. And Saturn meeting that planet of separation in the loss, in the house of loss is a heavy Putra dosha. And then connected to this, Saturn aspecting the seventh house of marriage. And Mars is aspecting the seventh lord of marriage, that is Jupiter. Is like substantiating this point. Now this person has to do something more connected with Putra dosha only. So do Putra dosha related remedies. Adopt a like spend time in orphanage, be close with orphan children, spend time in orphanage, buy something for the orphan children. Yes, if you can help. Don't be harsh with children of others. Like at least like have them in your arms, like lift them, give what they like and buy them a dress. Especially orphanage remedies the best because they don't have parents and you are suffering from children. Like Putra dosha, you are suffering. So when you go and meet the children and do something good for them, it is going to be better for you. That is the best remedy. Okay, now with this we will stop. We will do the remaining plans later.